Well, maybe not this morning. There isn't. No. So if you don't need it, no, I won't go. I'm doing flat. Well, I'm gonna go get it. How you be? Good. Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, bless your heart.
Yes.
Thank you. I try. Some days are better than others. Some days the sow's ear is pretty hard to make into a silk purse. What did you just say? What did you just say? I heard something. I said it was someday.
You wrote it by your bedside. It says tuna fish sandwich, right? All right. Good morning. Good to see you. I'll do a little bit of a trick to start. You're not supposed to start with humor if people don't know you. Don't try tricks, but I'm a thrill seeker. Okay. And sometimes I say, "Hi, I'm Steve," and then you guys go, "Hi, Steve." It's good to see you all. The trick is that I'm supposed to start with a sing-along. That's what it says in the rule book for Unity of Skagit Valley. No, it does not. But we're actually going to work into sing-along after I get through this song. I was so inspired to write this with a good friend of mine, John Gebhardt. Thinking about my kids and what matters a lot in life. And how we got here. Right, Beth? There? Where you been? Where you been? Playing in the field, my kids dressed in smiles, hanging on to all that joy, just a little while, running with them, kicking a red ball a country mile. Well, it makes this life worthwhile, worthwhile. Sitting around the fire, friends around the flame, love surrounds a campsite playing late night games, retelling the silly stories, people laughing just the same, and we stumbled on this timeless refrain. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. The sweetest things in this life are your soul's best friend, and if you let that all inside, you won't regret it in the end. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. Well, my mom had quite a smile, Dad a piggy grin. their brightest little star, though it started to dim. Well, it wasn't what they dreamed of, but they still live within, and they color all the places that I've been. No, you can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. The saddest things in this life, they'll come back again, but don't you lock them up inside, or we'll regret that in the end. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. Where you been? You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been. You know you'll never put your foot into the same stream again. And if we let that all inside, we won't regret it all, my friend. You can't be who you be till you've been where you've been, where you've been. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yep. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine all around the world, all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine everywhere I go, everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, oh, oh, everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Good morning. Thanks for singing.
Steve Mason, everybody, here to make our Sunday special. Thank you for being here. We're always so happy to have you here. You make us happy in our hearts. And you take us to deep places with your music, and it always means so much. So we're always overjoyed when you're here. And this is the new remote, and it says I can turn you on, off. I can turn you on or off. It's laying up here because I'm thinking we still don't know how to use it.
We actually have 3 of those.
Yeah, well, there, we've got one right there. Good morning, everyone, and with remote control in hand, I can surrender and say, let the instrument do the work. The wonder is we have a new HVAC system in our sanctuary. It is top of the line, and air purifiers are being installed to finalize it. I have a thing in my office. We got things there. This somehow controls all of those things. And Louise showed me how to use it the other day, and I haven't really felt like I'm empowered to do that yet. But for those people who made it possible, for those people who did the work to bring that into both consciousness and manifestation. We could not be more grateful. And where I'm going this week, to Unity Village and Overland Park, just outside Kansas City. It is somewhere between 93 and 99 degrees every day. So I'm drinking in this nice, cool morning and being grateful for where we live. I'm not saying it's not a wonderful place to be. What I'm saying is 99 compared to 63, I'll take it. I'll take it. We have wonderful people here that some of you have not yet met. My old friend from Bellevue, she is not old. Let me rephrase this. My longtime friend from Bellevue, Carol Masters, is here this morning. Welcome, Carol. So happy to see you. We have two individuals over here whose names I do not know. Is this your first Sunday with us? Yes. Where are you from? From Marysville. You drove all the way from Marysville. You know what? I drove from Seattle, south and north, twice this week. And Marysville is a wonderful place to visit, but not on I-5 in the afternoon. Thank you for coming. Tell us your names, if you would. Bob. Mm-hmm. And Phyllis, Bob and Phyllis. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're happy to have you here this morning. I see our friends back. I don't see Cadence anywhere. Oh, there he is. Hi, baby Cadence. Hi, Guy. He may have. We welcome you in the warm and loving spirit of unity. We welcome you in this place, and wherever you are, we welcome you in our hearts and in that spirit of unity. We extend blessings far and wide. And if it happens that you find us on YouTube or on Facebook, we welcome you. And if you're part of our community and we haven't seen you for a while, please come home and spend a Sunday morning with us here in the sanctuary. We would love to see you. Today's daily word. Pray for others. Pray for others. Let's think about that. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see all of you are here and know there are others online. Welcome. Pray for others. In love and faith, I pray with you. I am honored to pray with others, and I am grateful when others support me in prayer. When praying hearts and minds are joined, the power of prayer is multiplied. My partners in prayer may be in the same room or far away. We may be close friends or strangers. The power of prayer transcends what mere words can express, so we need not even speak the same language. We share the heart's language of love and faith. Although the appearance of sickness, a perception of lack or insufficiency, or interpersonal discord may have prompted us to pray, we set those concerns aside as we say yes to wholeness, abundance, and harmonizing love that are blessings in our lives and in every life. And from Matthew 18, verse 19, again, truly I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven.
Mm-hmm. Louise,
Beautiful.
Did you do the flowers?
No, Dee did the flowers.
Dee did the flowers.
Yes.
Oh, Dee, they are so beautiful. Wow. Extravaganza, to be sure. Just beautiful. Thank you, Louise. Look at those. Yum. Yum. Aren't we lucky? We're so lucky and blessed. Announcements. new book study, Tuesday mornings, beginning 2 Wednesdays, and then reverting to Tuesdays after that. 2 Wednesday mornings from 11 to 12:30, beginning the 29th of June. The 29th of June, it will be a Zoom class. We're still continuing our Zoom classes. And again, Tuesday mornings from 11 to 12:30. If you'd like to join the class and haven't been in any of our Tuesday classes, you may not be on my email Zoom link list. So if you'd like to join this class, Living Untethered, Beyond the Human Predicament by Michael Singer. And this follows the book that we love so much, The Untethered Soul. And I have said among my top 5 books, if you can only get me down to 5, The Untethered Soul would have been one of them. And I haven't read this one yet. I'm taking it with me today. So I'll learn about it while I'm in Kansas City. We have great news, more than great news. We have a new children's program director. We have a children's program beginning right now. And I'm going to let you stand up and introduce yourself, Sky Stewart. Here, take that. Take that. An implement.
Don't you feel like I'm trying to be loud enough about this?
No, not.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes, you can. My goodness. Hi, my name's Sky, and most of you probably know me as Linda and Kay's daughter, but I have a very long history here at Unity. Not here at Skagit, but at Bellevue was my place of home. And I'm really excited to have been offered the opportunity to come and do this. You're gonna have to forgive me, I'm already fully caffeinated. Yeah, so I'm very excited for the opportunity to hopefully come grow and build a youth program. I have been through every version of Unity's youth ministries. I started out before you even knew me, I started out with the little kids, and I did Uniteen, and then I fell in love with YOU. YOU was my home. Yep, thank you. Another YOU soul back there. And it was, and still is, one of the most profound experiences that I ever had in my life. So the fact that I get to be here and do that and build that for hopefully other children is amazing. So I'm very excited. We're going to take the opportunity to turn an area here in the church into a great, welcoming, warm space for all of our kids. I'm so glad we actually have some kids, so hopefully they'll let me steal them later and we get to play. But yeah, I have just throughout the last 30 years have kind of come and gone through the youth ministries. I never really did, ever graduate to big kid church.
No, you didn't.
I kind of always stayed with the youth ministries, but was asked to come back and participate that many times over the years. So I'm very excited to be doing that here for you. If you have any questions for me, about me, please don't hesitate to come talk to me, give me a shout out. If you'd like to help in there, let me know. We'd just love to have everybody participate. It'd be great. So,
Thank you.
Could you clarify what YOU is?
Sorry, YOU is Youth of Unity. So of course, every portion of youth group gets their name, and Youth of Unity is the 14 to 18 crowd. So it's pretty much along middle school, high school. So you've got Uniteens, which would be your middle school age, and then you've got YOU, which is your high school age group. So, but
I'll let you give that back to Louise.
thank you again.
Thank you, honey. I can call her honey. She's mine. The children's room is going to be renovated in the next few weeks under Sky's leadership and with Jerry's help and with your help. See Sky for items you would like from the children's room from that area, because they're going to clear it out. There's a lot of stuff in there, so they need room for kids. And so some of that stuff's going. So check it out. If there's anything you want in there, you're welcome to have it under Sky's leadership. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful. Something good is happening here. Something good is happening here. You can feel the energy of it. I like that so much. The West Side Association invites you to join us to beautify our street planters. Monday, June 20 at 2 o'clock at Katz, which is the little restaurant down on the corner. Tools, materials, and support provided by the City of Mount Vernon. And we're looking for volunteers to help do our area in front. Is that the request, Jerry? Okay. So we need some people who love to touch the dirt and eradicate things that don't belong. So anyway, for you, do that. And that's on Monday the 20th. On Saturday the 16th, please remember that CSL is having its 40th anniversary celebration and the ordination of Reverend Maggie. And you are invited certainly to attend. I don't have the note in front of me. I don't know what time it was. Okay, great. 1 o'clock, people say. If someone knows, then we all know. That's helpful. Anything? We had a board meeting on Tuesday.
We just did.
That's what I meant. We had.
We had it, yes.
Yes. It could go either way. I don't know. The experience was big. We've got so many things going on, so many things to talk about. The ongoing renovation of the apartment. This morning, as I drove up, I noticed that both sides of the fence are up again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for. Thank you, Gary, for doing that. I appreciate that. It looked bad before, but it looked way worse for a few weeks there, so I appreciate you deeply. There's always something going on. We always want volunteers. If you want to be a greeter, we would love to have you be our Sunday morning person standing there saying, "Welcome to Unity," or "I'm so happy to see you." In any case, we need some greeters on the team, and I don't know who to have you talk to. They could talk to you, Chris. Yeah? About grading? About needing to be a grader?
Yeah,
They could talk to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, who's she talking to now? Oh, right. Yeah, and Gail, as always, thank you for kitchen duty. We appreciate it so much. That beep you heard this morning was coffee being ready. There we go. We're all getting used to everything again. I think that's everything. That should be plenty. Yes, ma'am.
Next Sunday is Father's Day.
It is.
And we have treats. We have special treats for fathers and all of us.
Okay.
So I just want to remind
Thank you. Thank you.
you to come back.
I knew there was something else on my list. So next Sunday, nourishment, Father's Day, treats, something special to nibble, and a gift for you. So you don't have to be a father to, you don't have to be literally a father to celebrate Father's Day. You had one, or you know somebody who has mentored you in a way that modeled what the possibility is for being a conscious male in this world, in this day and time. So on Father's Day, we invite you and others to be here for sure. Did I forget anything else?
Does this mean
Apparently.
that we are not having the potluck on the last Sunday, which is the 26th?
No.
We are moving the potluck?
No. No, this is just a special treat.
This is just treats.
Yeah, it's not a
Potluck.
no, it's not a potluck. Thank you for asking that. It's time to move on. Okay, what do you think? What do you want to do for the meditation entry song? You got something you want to sing us in with?
Sure.
Would you? Thanks.
As some of you know, it's I usually come prepared with a few songs, and then it's what's going to happen then, right? So it's amazing. Yes, that's exactly it. In this time in our history, we've got so many chances to start over again as individuals, as countries, as entities of any kind. So I wrote this thinking about my family and so on, and it kind of spread out to that. So try another day, try another day. We battled way too long. We struggled through some nights, warring about who's wrong, possessed with being right, dreaming we'd hang on to memories fading fast, and gravity so strong it keeps us in the past. Let's try another day. Perhaps tomorrow's light will wash these tears away and bring us back in sight. Let's dig out from this hole before they ever list our names amid the tragedy told. Let's try another day. Though I know there's fear, I pray with heart in hands. The only thing that's clear, it's time we make this stand. Let's try another day with perhaps a little space where love can find its way and fill our hearts with grace, respecting each one's soul. We just might find a way before another hurt unfolds. Let's try another day. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. I think Ho'oponopono is really needed in this time. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you.
Oh, is that? Oh, is that? Let us pray. We pray in the way of knowing. We pray from a place of remembering. We pray from that place of realization that every prayer, each in its own way, is manifesting a perfection, sometimes known, sometimes unknown, and often unexpected. I pray. It's a statement that reminds me to leave for a moment the hustle and bustle, the seeming craziness of the outer world, as we move to the deeper place of knowing, realization, that place that is forever so. And we let go into that state of release. Today I let go. Today I let go in the knowing that God is at work in and through all things, in and through all aspects of life, here and now, always. I pray by connecting with my heart and entering into the deep center of the flowing river of spirit, moving both in and through, but around and as me, as you. I lift my awareness as I let go into the realization that that which is God, by any name, is the one presence, the one reality, the one truth. All power, all wisdom, all love. And here, I am the living expression of that presence and power and wisdom. I am the expression of peace and love and divine order. With your breath, in that willingness to let go and allow the power of the one free access to your mind and your heart and your body and your being and your life. allowing, letting go, accepting, that the movement of the one is somehow holding all the pieces together. In times when it seems that all is coming apart, there is that which is always holding it all together, even in the face of chaos, even in the face of unknowing, even in the experience of the great mystery. There is that one, constant, present, in your breath, I let go. I allow that which is, the one power, to bring forth what is necessary in my body, in my life, in my heart, in all considerations. I pray, knowing that the one is leading me, healing me, loving me. And I hold that truth for others. I pray for you in the knowing that the one presence is guiding you, healing you, loving you. Blessed are you. Blessed are you. I regain my center and my peace as I hold you in the light of prayer, as I hold myself in the light of the awareness of that which is the only truth. So ground my feet, center me in your presence and love. I am ready to let go and be raised once again into a new day filled with promise. Today I pray knowing that all is already accomplished. And for this I give thanks. Amen.
Too often I'm reminded that it's darkest before the dawn. Thank God my soul's not blinded, and that we're all expressions of the loving one, and that there is no other, just the one. There is no other, only the one. Now I'm digging down through layers. We've all got that spark inside. When my candle's just a flicker, let my oneness find me where the love resides, where there is no other. Though we are sisters and brothers, there is no other, only the one. Ooh, only the one. When my fear fogs my eyes and my tears they only burn, I pray for memory from the other side, where the brilliant light of love returns, where there is no other. Though we are sisters and brothers, there is no other, only the one. Because I am, oh I am, let me remember that I am. Because I am, oh I am, let me remember that I am, that I am, that I am. There is no other. There is no other. Oh, there is no other. Only the one, only the one. There is no other. We are the one.
You. Ooh. Thank you. You want to be there? You want to be there? Where do you want to be? You get tired of looking at my back?
Well, and
It's not my best part.
Here too.
Well, yeah. I want to see your face.
right here.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And if I have to go potty, then I can.
Then you just, that's what everybody else does. They just slip right out. We're a very holy place. We pride ourselves on being a place of solid principle and, stoicism. No, we're crazy. I'm crazy. You put somebody like me up in front of the room and you just never know what'll come out. This is a wonderful story of a man who was condemned to spend a night in a cell with a snake. And it wasn't a kind of, benevolent, happy, integrated therapy snake. He was a real kind of vicious, I'm going to get you sort of snake. I am a hungry snake. And I will kill because I believe that you should be reincarnated now, sort of thing. So the man was in the corner of the cell, and the snake was in the other corner, and all during the night, he barely dared to breathe for fear of alerting the snake. And sure enough, as the first light of morning began to come through the bars of the cells, he could make out the shape of that snake, and he said to himself, boy, wasn't I lucky that I didn't stir, or I would just have been zapped. But then, when the full light came in from the morning, he saw that it wasn't a snake at all. It was an old rope in the corner of the cell. It's a childish story, says the author, but the moral is a good one. Around the rooms of our heart, there are harmless old ropes lying on the floors. Our fear starts to work on them and turns them into monsters which keep us imprisoned in the most impoverished places in our lives. In the latter 1890s in Kansas City, a man and his wife and his 3 sons were living a challenged life. The man was a man who had tried many things. He was always just one step short and of making it whatever it was. And so he had moved his family to Kansas City to move into the real estate market, which had been booming in Kansas City at that time. Remember, late 1880. But the real estate boom went bust, and she was sick and seemingly dying from a hereditary disease, and they had 3 little boys to feed. And it looked really hopeless, and for them it was in that moment in time. And then all of a sudden something dawned out of nowhere, out of this desperation consciousness in a time when it wasn't going well at all. Suddenly there was a light, a word, a thought, an inspiration. And it so took hold in their minds and in their hearts that it first transformed her life and then his. The story of the Fillmores and the beginning of Unity, because I am going to Kansas City this week, because I'm going back to the experience of Unity Village and going into a convention with people who've been students of Unity for so many years and in one way or another. I really wanted to go back into some of the history about Myrtle Fillmore and back into the teachings that prompted this awakening. And the question we ask before I even get into it is why? Why unity, and why in that time, and why in a world that seemed really so much more unconscious than the world we see today, so much more unconscious. Why? Because there was something going on, and it was bigger than any 2 people with 3 small boys. It was bigger than any state of affairs. It was bigger than any shortfall of substance, money, health, whatever the case may be. It was bigger than that. It was something that came in a way that wanted to be born. And when it's time for something to be born collectively and individually, and then in a way that infiltrates consciousness, something emerges in an individual, in one individual, in 2, in 10, and then we see this beginning to infiltrate the way in which we live and think. And for those of us who've been Unity students for a long time, so many of us came into it having not had any experience in the languaging or the ideas themselves. We were trained into that collective consciousness that said we live in a state of separation from God, from each other, from life itself, and as children raised in that environment, learned how to then try to make life work for ourselves, discovering that it didn't always. That there were a lot of snakes in the corner that turned out to be ropes as we continued our growth and development. But most of Unity students back historically and presently came because there was a need. And the Fillmores didn't have some grandiose idea about creating a worldwide movement. There was a need, there was a direct need. And they saw that need able to be met by some ideas that had come to them that made all the difference in the world. Why not mend this sense of separation that people have by telling them the truth that we're one with His presence, we're one with His power, we're one with this ever-living, ever-evolving beingness that we call the Christ, that it's not just for one, that the message came for all. So as they began to work with the ideas, and as she particularly began to work with the ideas, Myrtle Fillmore became the leader of Unity. It wasn't Charles. We always said it was Charles, but it wasn't. It was Myrtle. It was Myrtle as a result of her healing. She led the way. The book is called, it's not something you read at your bedside, but maybe you do, Torchbearer to Light the Way, The Life of Myrtle Fillmore. And it's fascinating, and it has a wonderful history in it. But because she was who she was, and she had the direct experience, she said, people need to learn about this. People need to hear about this. And he said, no, I'm not interested. That was he said, no. I'll wait and see. And then something happened to him that he didn't mean to have happen, but it was time for it. What is it time for in our consciousness? It was time for it. And he watched her as she began to use these ideas in her deepest self of self to bring forth healing and transformation. And he watched other people come and be healed as well with the ideas. And then he followed. He didn't lead, he followed. And they moved through this experience together when he began to awaken to these truths. Myrtle Fillmore was a teacher, and she was the one who led the way, saying, it's a school. What we're studying is a school. It's a school. We're building a school. Unity School of Practical Christianity was the wording. And here was one of the theme elements of Unity, not of that time, but later through Discover the Power Within You, if you've read it. No matter where you are, what you may be, no matter how much you've lost or how little you've gained, no matter how far you may think yourselves to be from the heights you have set for yourselves, or feel that God has set for you, the power to become is your divine inheritance. The power to become without restriction of age, the power to become not on the basis of experience or condition. You can overcome, you can succeed, you can be healed if you, what? Believe in your divinity. One of the most powerful statements, you can overcome, you can succeed, you can be healed if you believe in your divinity. Bless it. Act as if it were the real and true of you. and keep on in the effort to open out a way whence the imprisoned splendor may escape. Eric Butterworth's words. No matter what you think, the reality is the power to become is your divine inheritance. To become what? The full realization of the Christ beingness that is the truth of who you are and who you've always been. She caught that. She caught that without without really anyone telling her, without a book to read, without any of the other things that we seem to need to convince ourselves that we are somehow able to move forward in our lives. I was going to go somewhere else, but I'm not. I'm going to go here. We're going to the book. Myrtle recognized that not everyone was ready to accept unity principles. It didn't have a name, unity, then, but people were coming because they saw an example of something that worked. Why did people come to unity in the early days? Not for entertainment, not for fun and frivolity. They came because they saw in someone that it worked. Because many people tried out the teachings but didn't adopt them. It was no cause for alarm or reason for discouragement, she explained to a center leader. When we think of the changes that go on at centers, the comings and the goings, we can comfort ourselves with this old message. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can lead an ass to knowledge, but you can't make him think. You and I can study and develop, that's Myrtle Fillmore, you and I can study and develop truth ideas and offer them to the public, but only the few who want truth more than anything else will stay to be inspirited and encouraged by our efforts. And so we'll be happy with the few and give thanks that the masses will sometime receive that which is more precious than all that they think they want so much. That's foundation. That is, if it's for the entertainment value, she's saying it's great and maybe in the right time something will shift. What happened to Unity Ideas was they didn't become mainstream. They thought, Unity thought that we would become quote unquote, a new world religion recognized by the Council of World Religions, one of those top tier religious bodies throughout the world, and worked hard toward that. But what was happening was amazing. It was infiltrating underground. It was like an underground. We talked last week about the little tributary that was all plugged up and got unplugged. It's like that. The ideas, which didn't belong to Unity, but Unity began to comprehend and teach and witness, started to infiltrate in an invisible kind of underground way in the subconscious of the collective. And so as time has gone on, so in 1972 when I began in a Unity church for the first time in Olympia, there were 25 books that you could read that really gave you insight into these ideas. Some were the Fillmores, but there were other people beginning to write and publish. But still, that was 1970, 72, 73. But something was happening, and it had taken what from 1890, when the words and the ideas started to be published, it had taken that long to reach what we thought felt like the mainstream, which was small groups of people, 10, 15 people in a room somewhere or in a little front office space that pretended to be a church on a Sunday morning, and then had classes but this infiltration of the ideas became collective in many ways. And as much as we look out and say, why are there so many unconscious people in the world? The reality is what's underneath that and rising up is this consciousness that has been with us for a long time. It's just not hidden. How many books, I can't even tell you how many books I have or have had that tell me the same truths in another style with another languaging. How many? I'm going to bring some of them in a few weeks and lay them on a table and say, whoever wants these can take them home. Good books, wonderful books. Myrtle said, I don't want to write a book. I'm not interested in writing. I'm interested in teaching. I'm interested in making the ideas available in different ways. And so as she continued her work up to 1931 when she died, she did most of her work by letter writing, card writing from your from your Unity tribe. Here are some of her words. She's talking about her healing. I didn't get entirely well and strong all at once. And there were a few times after my first discoveries and healings when I felt the need to hold on tight. She started from, if it's true that I'm a child of God and I don't inherit sickness, baseline. I am a child of God. I do not inherit sickness. The life force in my body and being is not a life force of disease and weakness and impurity. The life force of my being is the very life force breath of God breathing in and through me. The mind may believe otherwise, may think it's about the snake in the corner, but the reality of what is and has always been the foundation of unity is I'm a child of God. And say what you will in terms of the conditions of things, but the truth is the truth. So she continues, there was one time when the household duties fell upon me with the small children to care for. I felt the old familiar heaviness and pain and smothering in my chest and aching all through my body. I do not know why I felt as I did, but I decided that I should throw myself into house cleaning with all the strength I could muster, and that's just what I did. I went upstairs. I swept room after room, rearranged and set in order all that part of the house with windows wide open and perspiration flowing. I noted that I began to feel relaxed and to breathe easier. I kept holding that God, my Father, was my health and my strength. I'm not advising that others should take this as a suggestion in the treatment of such appearance, she said. The troubles didn't respond to ordinary faith and prayer. I finally asked the Lord just why it was that I didn't get well. I explained that I had gone all through my consciousness to see what it was that held me and where I was at fault. And I heard the Spirit say to me, you've looked among your faults, now look among your virtues. I thought it strange, but soon it came to me that I had to keep my feelings to myself, taking great pride in the fact that I never let anyone know how I felt or that anything displeased or hurt me. I found that I didn't feel as sweet and poised on the inside as I seemed outwardly. I began to watch and to redeem this state of mind. I determined to handle those things that came to me before I swallowed it and allowed it to irritate and cut and weaken my nerves and organs. As I gained real poise and the ability to keep my thoughts and my feelings free, I was healed and restored to strength and normal function. But as time went on, I learned that if I dared to slip back into the old habit of letting some personal grievance or annoyance settle down in my soul, the inner intelligence would give me a warning. I will say that in those early days, I hardly knew just what was taking place. I only know that my experience was much like that of the blind man who Jesus healed. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. I simply had great faith that God, the loving Father who had so marvelously revealed himself to me as my help in every need, and my faith inspired others then to have faith. And I was always glad to pray for those who sought my help. I don't think that the success of the prayers was due to their word formation. Sometimes I merely assured people that I believed God could and would help them. At the time, healing seemed the most important thing in life to me, and I loved seeing folks get well and happy. I still do. But I have learned that the spiritual awakening and daily development of Christ's powers are more important. The soul must be awakened and brought to a realization of the truth and encouraged in the righteous use of all the God-given faculties and powers. Her words are so pure. She's such a pure teacher because it wasn't contaminated by other things. She had a direct knowing. But how do you have a direct knowing? You have a direct knowing because you seek it. Because there is something in you that wants to know more than you know about the place you find yourself. She mentions in another place that she's still working with gossip. I'm not an angel yet, she said. I am working toward my Christhood. Well, what she, in that and in 1,000 different ways, she teaches. But in her own experience, there's something so powerful to be found in the admission, I didn't know anything. But when I heard truth for the first time, something lit up in me, a word of truth. And she said, not because I could just live off of that. I had to do the work in it. And the work in it is not the hard work of, I've got to go in and turn over every rock and get everything cleaned out. The work is the recognition that these things that we've given so much power to have no power. The things we most fear in the corners or the belief structures we still hold about what we believe to be true about who we are or are not. Those things are not true. And so it became effective in her and in so many others when she began to give her attention to the truth of her divinity. The truth of her divinity, cutting through the rest of it and then seeing whatever would arise that would defy that and letting go of it as quickly as possible. Through whatever statement of truth, whatever realization she could bring to the moment about it looks true, it smells true, it can even taste true, but it's not true. It's an idea, it's a snake in the corner. It's a way in which I've assigned power to how life is somehow not being kind or fair to me. But it's that something else that goes with the student who really wants to realize truth, who really, before we close our eyes for the last time, has come to a place of comfort and peace about our oneness with the presence. And the teachers who have come before us, the individuals who have lived these ideas and brought them forward, are the ones who have given us these truths. Not because we should be healed, not because we shouldn't have goop under the rocks in the corner, not because we are never afraid, not because we are always healed, but because when we know that we are centered in the one, we know we are safe where we are. She was deeply brokenhearted when her son died. She wouldn't waver from the belief that he would be fully healed. They sent him off to a sanatorium to be healed somewhere. That's what happened in that time when someone was ill, had tuberculosis or something of that kind. And the experience for her of forcing him to believe the truth, forcing him, like force feeding him truth in the belief that she could make his body do what she told it to do and what she forced him to believe that could happen didn't happen. He died while he was still at the sanitarium. And she was enraged, brokenhearted and enraged. She said that was the time when her faith was most greatly absent. But she turned around and came back into the awareness once again of what mattered. And when she died in 1931, it was from a place of having reached so many people, but of having planted seeds. You know, take the seeds that we've been told that Jesus, when he ascended, planted the seeds. She never said, I'm a saint. She never said, I'm a spiritual leader. She said, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher of universal truths and laws that work if you work them. And when you remember that what you think is the snake in the corner is an appearance, and realize in the face of that that the truth is ever and always present, then you stop trying to work so hard to make things be different. And that, she said, is where her healing came. She didn't want to be a saint. She didn't want to be a guru. She didn't want to write books. She didn't want to be known particularly. She just wanted to do her work. And her work, in a mystical way, led her into places where she would describe that she was experiencing more and more of that mountaintop awareness. At age 86, she went to work at Unity, writing letters, doing silent Unity prayer work, and she died the next day. And what remained was this ongoing truth that is as present today in and for and with us as it was that day or the day before or before the Fillmores ever comprehended it. When we say we turn our attention to the one, we say, where are we going to go to turn our attention to the one but here in our center. From whence cometh my strength? The psalmist writes, from whence cometh my strength? From that which created from the beginning of the beginning of the beginning that had no beginning. A moment in time named you and me just where we find ourselves now. Be still, she wrote, be still, be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. Let not your thoughts be given over to lack, but let wisdom fill them with the substance and faith of God. Let not your heart be a center of resentment and fear and doubt. Be still and know that at this moment it is the altar of God of love, love so sure and unfailing, love so irresistible and magnetic that it draws your supply to you. Let not your heart be a center of resentment and fear and doubt. It's not resentment, we say. I'm not resentful. I'm not resentful. I might have an issue with something, but I'm not resentful. I'm not bitter. God knows I'm not bitter. No, I'm a kind, loving, sweet unity student. She said, I'm not an angel, but I'm working hard to become ever more conscious of the Christ truth of my being. So there's a little bitterness occasionally, a little resentment. Be still and know that at this moment it's the altar of God, of love, love so sure and unfailing, love so irresistible and magnetic that it draws your supply to you from the great storehouse of the universe. Trust God, use His wisdom, prove His love, express His love. Myrtle Fillmore. So, I've got my travel clothes on, got my suitcases in the office, off to Kansas City, and get there at midnight, their time. Drive another hour, and first activities are at noon tomorrow, which is 10 o'clock our time, at Unity Village, and I will see my fountain for the first time. Jerry, I'll give you a report. My fountain that's got my name on, it's not my fountain, but the people of Santa Barbara dedicated it in my honor. And on Tuesday afternoon, the awards ceremony for me and for David MacArthur, who's receiving the Charles Fillmore Award, and for a wonderful woman named Patricia Bass, who is receiving the Light of God in Unity Award. So it'll be a lovely afternoon. And all week long, unity, 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 but taught in different ways. Not taught in these ways, but taught in new ways that are relevant to here and now. So the truth evolving, would Myrtle approve of some of the things? I don't know. I don't know what her opinion would be in the evolution of truth in the experience of life. They're talking about diversity. They're talking about climate change. They're talking about the unity of tomorrow. Some of us are barely keeping up with the unity of yesterday. And in all of that, people still hungry for truth, a world still hungry for truth, people who still say, I've never heard of this before. And here we are, after all these years, continuing to hold the torch high, and with deep gratitude for our founders. And they never, ever, ever wanted to be seen as spiritual gurus. They never, somebody wrote to her and sent her something, a band. I don't know a band of what kind. But the person believed that if Myrtle Fillmore would bless it and get it back to her, she'd be healed. And Myrtle said, why don't you use that, why don't you use that band to hold up the flowers in your garden? And why don't you go deeper in your belief of what's true about you and in the presence of you? Just lovely. But what I can say is thanks. Thanks for making it possible for me to go. Thank you for being my loving community and my home and my place of service. Thank you for holding the light for me when I can't always hold it for myself. Please know that we are dedicated to holding the light for all, and our prayer ministers are always eager to receive your prayer requests and to pray with you for 30 days and send those off to Silent Unity, where they're prayed for another 30 years. Prayer requests go in the prayer box over on the credenza, and you may also send them to info@unitysv.org. Prayer requests, questions, answers, something you want to say, something you need, info@unitysv is the place to go to get it. As we bless our love offering this morning, we do so always in gratitude and with humility. May we be humbled by the realization that Spirit is in truth forever and always our source, not controlled by the power of the world. Source is present in and through and as all at all times. As we share our gifts, we are grateful for those who come in online, who come in the mail, who come through the front door, who end up on Sunday morning in our offering plate. Thank you for your generosity and for believing in this work. I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And so it is. So today and always, the prayer for protection is our great blessing. You can say one stanza of it that you can remember. Sometimes I can't remember any of it anymore. But I tell you, it's there, and it is our ever-present blessing. You can use it for I or me or we or you. Oh, don't hurt the flowers. Okay, we good? Okay. Okay, we're good now. Just leave it. Just leave it. We're good. Okay. There. We're good. We're good. Don't worry. We're a little tilty, but we're good. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well now, it says. Please stand, let's sing our peace song together.
with God.